10 steps to buying a house. We have a guide for you, but think about before we jump in, how would your life change if you could stop wasting money on rent, maybe get out of that current house that's way too small for you? How would your life change in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road? Shoot, even next month, if you were able to start building wealth and equity in the real estate asset class right now. So you're ready to get started with buying a home. You've saved, you discussed, you've kind of figured out, maybe this is the right time for me. One of the reasons that we've prepared this ultimate how-to guide, this checklist, and these worksheets to help you on purchasing the ideal home is so that you don't let another buyer come in and swoop in, buy that property that you love just because you didn't do your due diligence and you're not ready to roll. Being on top of your financial profile will help you get the house of your dreams. First things first, you want to audit your credit score so you know where, not only what's reported, if there's any errors and omissions, and where you are within the range. So ranges can go from, let's say, 350 to about 850, right? That sweet spot is 700 plus, in my opinion, if you're trying to buy a home and get, the more preferred product in better rates. Okay, so since COVID started, we've helped hundreds of clients in Illinois, Colorado, across the country. And what we've actually found is about 25 to 30% of the credit reports that we're pulling for our purchase and refinance transactions, they have errors on them. So the first and foremost thing you want to do is get your free annual credit report, or shoot, you can, get a pre-qual letter from us and we can pull that for you, whatever. Now, number two is knowing your budget and sticking to it. Okay, so we have clients right now that are going through our regimen here that we call it that do not exceed limit, right? So there's a number that everybody has where just buying a property that might be, let's say, 400,000. Some people it's $1 million, some people it's 2 million, some people it's 150,000. Whatever your specific, I don't feel comfortable borrowing that much money, that's probably a good place to start with your budget on the high side for your purchase price and work back from there. Knowing and sticking to your budget is potentially the most important step. So thinking about moving into a new home can get you really, really excited. And because of this, it's easy to forget what you can actually afford. So really examine your budget, stay within those parameters that you've set beforehand. And my number one recommendation to every home buyer is to get your budget down on paper. So on that pen and paper, obviously, one of the things that you'll know already from step one, your credit score, is what your monthly debt obligations are. Clearly just total all those up. Then on your pay stubs, you'll be able to see your gross income, which is before any deductions. That's not your net take-home pay, mind you, but that number, your actual, let's say, $100,000 salary, you would divide that by 12 to come up with your monthly gross income. That's the number that the bank technically will use for your qualifications or how much you can actually afford to buy on a new property or refinance on a property. However, right, that's not your take home, and that's not, in my personal opinion, even though that's what we use to qualify you, that may not be the best metric of what you're comfortable with spending on a month-over-month basis. Okay, so getting all of your expenses down on paper, cleaning up that credit report, maybe getting rid of some crappy old consumer debt, quite honestly, car payments are horrible, credit card debt's terrible, student loans, garbage. Get rid of all that stuff if you can, while you're still saving money for, let's say, the down payment and budgeting for this new property at the same time. Now, step three is to get that pre-approval. A seller wants to know that you can actually afford a home that you want to buy. So getting pre-approved is going to show the seller that you mean business and that you can do it before you even start looking. So the second step to this process here in step three would actually be doing a full and complete loan application. So once you actually put that information into a loan application, then the team, what they do is build out what we call a needs list, which are the documents that are going to be required to validate the information that you put in there. So quite simply, it's gathering some pay stubs, some W-2s, tax returns possibly, depending on the style of loan you're going to get, asset statements, bank statements, where's the money going to come from the down payment, the closing costs, that type of thing, right? So the better prepared you are up front is far better in the field. Now, what we do for our clients as well, this is now a free service. We do our competition crusher, which basically converts you into essentially a cash-like buyer. So we take away the financing contingency by submitting your loan file to our underwriting team, our underwriting department. A human being is going to check my work, check the computer printout, which is that automated underwriting approval. Then they're going to validate all your documents. And once we have that, the team reaches back out to our clients, cleans up any what they call conditions, financing conditions first, and then when you're actually in the field, your realtor has the best tool possible to negotiate on your behalf the absolute best sales contract, because that's, in my opinion, their number one job. All right, step 4, we are gonna bust back out that same scratch sheet of paper that you had for your budget, right? All that stuff. Now you're gonna write down the true reasons that you want to buy this house. If you know exactly what you're looking for, you're not gonna end up buying the wrong house, preventing unneeded emotional stresses as well. The 4 reasons people actually buy a home comes true pretty much 100% of the time. So the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard did this study. The 4 main reasons people buy a house, get ready: a good place to raise children in a location where they can be well educated. 2, a place where you and your family feel safe, more space for you and your family. And the last one is to have more control over your space. Any one of those sound like you? Leave a message down in the comments. Let me know why you are buying a house or thinking about buying a house. Okay, so now that we've got some of the financial basics out of the way here, now is the time to hire that realtor. You know, reach out to a couple of them. Some people have a ton of industry experience, some people don't. In this market here today, we are in a crazy seller-friendly market, meaning that there's a ton of you buyers out there, and there's a very, very small amount of inventory. So your competition, right, is going to be other buyers, cash buyers, even institutional buyers, right? So our prep work up front, okay, is one of the things that allows your realtor to best negotiate the sales contract for you. So the right agent's going to help you find those diamonds in the market. That's their job. Finding a highly communicative agent is a key piece to the home buying puzzle. There are times where agents can make the process easier for our buyers by accessing homes quickly and using knowledge of the marketplace to effectively find your dream spot. One of the perks of using an agent when you're buying a house is that they are free to use. Yeah, you may not know, but the realtor actually gets paid by the seller of the house most of the time. That's typically negotiated with the listing agent. So the seller is negotiating their listing price and their commission structure with their agent representative. So the buyer actually gets paid from the seller because the agents split the commissions. Ooh, baby, now number 6, this is the fun part. This is like looking for properties. So looking for properties, you're gonna wanna do a couple things. From step number 2, which was talking about our budget, right? You'll wanna have a search that goes from, you know, 400,000 to 500,000, and maybe another one from 5 to 550, just in case those homes are within your monthly payment budget, and possibly if those are overpriced, poised to come down, you might have the inside track on that. If you're looking for maybe multiple styles of property, maybe you're looking for a condo, a single family home, or maybe a townhouse, you're gonna want separate search engines for those that your realtor can set up. Looking for properties is where the home buying process can really get interesting and thrilling. You have the opportunity to find all the amenities you require, the vanity in the bathroom, the large kitchen. Now, with your budget clearly stated, work with a real estate agent and utilize online search tools that they're gonna give you to find the house of your dreams. And also, if major life changes happen, you can always sell a house, okay? Life changes, things changes. Shoot, just a couple years ago, the whole world shut down, right? So having long-term goals, right, and then paring those down into more manageable timeframes oftentimes makes sense. So I have 4 quick tips for you to help in the field when you're looking for properties. We use these all the time for our buyers as they prepare for the field. First and foremost, don't fall in love with a home. You're gonna wanna love your home, but allowing your feelings to overcome rational decisions in the reality of your situation is an easy to make mistake. Look through several homes before settling on one. The second thing you don't wanna do is losing control. This is gonna be your home and you need to make the decisions. Family and friends are gonna have their opinions, but it's ultimately your decision. Number 3 in this market is, quite honestly, you can't be indecisive if the property that you're looking at meets all of your needs list, has the right amenities, the location, and the price point that you want. Fact of the matter is, things are flying off the shelf in a matter of days if they're priced right. Even those ones that might be overpriced, they're still, based on today's turn times, they're going off the market in about 20 days or less. And then one of the other mistakes when you're looking for houses is just bad timing, okay? So sometimes, bad things happen. People end up making poor decisions on maybe buying a car, during the home buying process, or getting a new credit card, or deciding to go back to school. So if the timing just isn't right for you, so if it's just bad timing for whatever reason, put the home buying process on pause, no big deal. All right, so step 7 now, this is making the offer. So you found the house, it hits all the needs list. You can see yourself growing into this property. Oh, the dog's playing in the backyard, the kids growing up in the cul-de-sac, in the street shooting hoops, all that stuff. You want to make an offer on this property. This is the kind of the fun part, but also the nerve-wracking part as well, because there's competition out there. There might be 5 other buyers wanting to buy this property. There might be cash buyers, right? So if you recall, what was it, step number 3, getting that pre-approval, that competition crusher, getting all of your finances done out of the way, making sure that the listing agent knows that your financing is done. This is where that helps your realtor get your offer accepted. A couple key negotiation how-tos. Keep in mind time on the market. If a house has been on the market for a while, you might get a buyer-friendly negotiation. Get an inspection done, because you might not see any glaring flaws or issues that an inspector will. If the buyer's agent can figure out why the house is for sale, it can be, does a seller have a job offer in another state? Or is the seller in a desperate financial situation? Take the seller's reasons for selling into consideration so you can make the right decision. Now on to step 8, now that you're under contract, we just talked about it, get that home inspection. So unfortunately, what we're seeing right now in the market is people kind of waiving inspections because, again, the seller does have the massive upper hand in the current selling environment. However, you still want to get an inspection for oftentimes health and safety purposes, and to make sure there's no major flaws in some of the high ticket items, in my opinion, on the property. High ticket items are like the roof, let's say the foundation, and that sewer line that goes from the house out to the main line of the city. So those are big ticket items that, in my opinion, if you or your inspector sees that, walk. So step 9, this is loan manufacturing and closing. Okay, so now that you're under contract, what we do at the bank, we look at the contract, reformulate some of the information from your pre-approval application, add in the information for the property, and we start to then order all of those third-party items. So one of those big things in loan manufacturing is an appraisal. If it's required, we'll order an appraisal through a management company. They'll assign it to a local appraiser in the area. They go out to the property and make sure that the value for the asset is supported to the sales contract price, right? So that's one of the big things that right now, with at least in the Denver metro area, we're seeing some houses not appraised, meaning that if you bought a house for $700,000, for instance, that appraisal might come in at $650 or $625. And if that's the case, guess who has to bring in the dough? You. So why budgeting is important from step 2 is you need to have some extra cash besides your down payment, besides the money for closing costs, just to have in case something were to happen, not only with the house beforehand, but after the fact too. What a couple other things that happen, you'll get homeowners insurance as well as the title work. The seller will pick the title company just to make sure that the person that's selling the house legally can sell the house to you. It's just a deed of transfer. So there's a little bit of busy work that happens behind the scenes during this part in time. But of course, this really isn't all that difficult. We get people cleared to close within, anywhere from 3 days to about 10 days in this process, when a standardized contract is anywhere between 20 and 35 days, at least in our market. So a lot of times our clients are just sitting around waiting for that close day, not stressed out at all, just super elated and super excited. Number 10 is signing day, the day you get those keys. This is where you're gonna chow on some food at the title company. Everybody's happy. You might even have some champagne. We've had margaritas with clients. It's a super fun time. You are doing a heck of a lot of signing. Depending on the state you're in, you might have an attorney present. You might have the title rep, your realtor kind of doing things, explaining some documents to you. But if you work with us, you're gonna know exactly what all those docs say well in advance. So you're all good there, but it's really just kind of dotting the I's, crossing the T's, that type of thing, signing a bunch of title documents, a bunch of final loan documents. Once that loan is funded, you get the keys. You are a homeowner again, or a first timer, or adding that property to your real estate portfolio. Congratulations, it's a wonderful time. All right. The time is now to snoop around the channel and get that brain growing. Watch one of these videos right now, here or here. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, and like this video so we can see each other on that regular basis. Check out our free loan qualification certificate so you can find out how much mortgage you can qualify for, and scope out our free mortgage calculators. Stay sweet.